One of the most dangerous lies older adults are told is this: if a stroke is coming, you will always know it. You will always feel something dramatic. You will always have a loud, unmistakable warning. But in real life, that is not how it always happens. Sometimes the day before a stroke, the body whispers before it screams. A face feels a little strange. A hand seems clumsy for a moment. Words don't come out right. A person feels off, then brushes it aside, goes to bed and tells themselves they'll deal with it tomorrow, and sometimes tomorrow is too late. I'm Dr. Thomas Reynolds, and I want to talk to you very directly today because this subject is not only about health, it's about independence, it's about speech, memory, walking, swallowing, dignity, and the ability to keep living your life on your own terms. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what a stroke may look like the day before it strikes, what many people miss, what some of these early warning signs really mean inside the brain and blood vessels, and what to do if you ever notice them in yourself or someone you love. And I want to say something clearly right at the beginning. Not every stroke gives a warning the day before. Some happen suddenly with no obvious advance notice at all, but many people do have brief warning episodes, often called a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. In plain English, that means a temporary blockage of blood flow to part of the brain. It may last only minutes. It may seem to disappear, but it is not harmless. It is often the closest thing to a fire alarm the body can give. So today I'm going to count down the warning signs older adults most often overlook. And the later signs in this list are especially important because they're often mistaken for just fatigue, just stress, or just getting older. And please stay with me to the end because I'll also explain the real protection plan most people never hear enough about, what to do in the moment, and what daily habits may help reduce your risk over time. If you're watching this for yourself or for a parent, spouse, sibling, or friend, leave a comment and tell me your age and where you're watching from. And if stroke has touched your family, you are not alone. This is one of the great fears older adults carry quietly, and it deserves calm, honest discussion. Let's begin with number 7. Number 7, a strange numbness or weakness that comes and goes. This is one of the classic warning signs, but it is often missed because it may not stay. A hand feels weak for 10 minutes. One side of the face feels odd. A leg feels heavy when standing up. Then it passes. That temporary nature is exactly what makes it so dangerous. People think if it went away, it can't be serious. In stroke medicine, that is often the opposite of the truth. When blood flow to part of the brain is interrupted, even briefly, the area that controls movement or sensation may stop working properly. The brain is like a city powered by a constant delivery system. If one road is blocked, even for a short time, the neighborhood downstream flickers. A hand may not grip well. A foot may drag. The lips may feel numb. In older adults, this matters tremendously because it may be the first sign that a clot is forming, a narrowed artery is becoming unstable, or the heart is sending an embolus, meaning a traveling clot, toward the brain. And because these symptoms can fade, people postpone care. Please don't do that. If you or someone near you suddenly develops weakness, numbness, facial drooping, or arm drift, even if it improves, that is an emergency. Do not wait for another episode. Do not drive yourself if you are impaired. Call emergency services right away. And the next sign is just as important because sometimes the brain doesn't first signal through movement. Sometimes it signals through language. Number 6, sudden trouble speaking, finding words, or understanding simple conversation. Many people imagine stroke speech problems as dramatic slurring. Sometimes that happens, but sometimes it is much subtler. A person suddenly cannot find the right word. They use the wrong word without realizing it. They start a sentence and lose the thread completely. Or they hear you speaking, but your words suddenly sound scrambled, as if the message arrived with pieces missing. This is not just having a senior moment. Let me be very clear about that. Normal aging may slow recall a bit from time to time, but stroke-like language changes are sudden, abrupt, different from your usual pattern. The switch flips and the person seems unlike themselves. Why does this happen? Because certain areas of the brain handle language production and language comprehension. If blood flow to those areas drops, words can break down very quickly. It is as if the brain's telephone exchange suddenly loses connection. And in real life, this can be brushed aside in heartbreaking ways. A spouse says, "You're tired." A person says, "I just need coffee." A family member says, "Mom's been forgetful lately." But when language changes suddenly, especially alongside facial weakness, confusion, or imbalance, stroke must be taken seriously. If you notice sudden slurred speech, unusual confusion with words, or trouble understanding someone who is speaking clearly, seek emergency help immediately. Minutes matter. Brain tissue is precious. Now, the next warning sign often frightens people because it can feel so disorienting. Number 5, sudden vision changes, especially in one eye or on one side. This may look like blurred vision, dim vision, double vision, partial vision loss, or the odd feeling that one side of the visual world has disappeared. Some people describe it as a shade being pulled down. Others say it looks like part of the room went missing. And here is what older adults often misunderstand. Not every stroke warning begins with pain. In fact, some of the most urgent symptoms are painless. Vision depends on a steady stream of signals moving from the eyes through the brain. If blood flow is interrupted anywhere along that pathway, the picture can distort or fade. Think of it like a television signal cutting out. The screen may still be on, but the image breaks apart. This sign matters deeply because eyesight is tied to everything older adults care about: driving, walking safely, reading medication labels, recognizing faces, managing finances, and staying independent at home. A sudden visual change can also increase fall risk dramatically. So if one eye suddenly goes dim, or if you suddenly cannot see properly, do not assume it is just your glasses or just a migraine, unless a physician has clearly evaluated it. Especially after 60 or 70, abrupt vision loss or visual distortion deserves urgent attention. And now we come to a symptom people often blame on the inner ear. Number 4, sudden dizziness, severe imbalance, or difficulty walking straight. Not every dizzy spell is a stroke. That is true. Dehydration, inner ear disorders, medication effects, low blood pressure, and other issues can all cause dizziness. But there is a particular kind of sudden, unusual dizziness or imbalance that deserves real caution, especially if it arrives out of nowhere and feels different from anything you've had before. This may look like veering to one side, stumbling, feeling pulled sideways, being unable to coordinate your steps, or feeling as though the room is moving in a way that is intense and new. Some people feel clumsy rather than dizzy. They say, "My legs just wouldn't do what I told them to do." This can happen when the stroke warning involves the back part of the brain, an area that helps control coordination, balance, and spatial awareness. In plain language, the body's steering system starts failing. That is why this sign can be so dangerous. People sit down, wait it out, and hope it passes. But if sudden imbalance comes with double vision, slurred speech, weakness, numbness, or severe headache, the concern rises even higher. And please remember this: common does not mean normal. Yes, balance becomes more fragile with age, but a sudden change is never something to casually explain away as just getting older. The next sign is one many people dismiss because it doesn't sound dramatic enough. Number 3, a sudden spell of confusion, mental fog, or feeling deeply not right. This is one of the hardest warning signs to describe and one of the easiest to ignore. A person may say, "I just didn't feel like myself." They may have trouble following a conversation, feel unusually disoriented in a familiar place, or become briefly confused about a simple task they normally do every day. Now, confusion can happen for many reasons. Infection, low blood sugar, medication problems, dehydration, and poor sleep can all contribute. But when the change is sudden, especially when paired with other neurological symptoms, stroke must be considered. The brain is not just a pump or a motor. It is your command center. It helps you orient, process, choose, organize, and respond. When blood flow is disrupted, the result may feel less like pain and more like disconnection, as if the wiring suddenly flickered. For older adults, this is especially important because people around them may interpret the change through the lens of aging. They may say, "Dad's confused sometimes." But sudden confusion is not the same as gradual memory decline. Timing matters, abruptness matters, change from baseline matters. If someone suddenly seems mentally off, unusually confused, or unable to perform a familiar task, don't just keep an eye on it. Act. And now we move into a warning sign that many people remember hearing about but still underestimate. Number 2, a brief episode that disappears completely. This may actually be the most dangerous clue of all because it creates false reassurance. A face droops for 5 minutes, a hand goes weak, words come out wrong, vision dims. Then everything seems normal again, and the person says, "Well, I'm okay now." But this is often what a transient ischemic attack looks like. A temporary interruption in blood flow, a near miss, a rehearsal, a warning flare. I want you to picture a narrow pipe with unstable debris moving through it. One small blockage forms, then shifts. Flow returns. Crisis seems over, but the system is still unstable. Another blockage may form soon after, and next time it may not pass. That is why TIAs are so medically important. The risk of a true stroke can be highest in the hours and days after one of these warning episodes. This is not something to mention at your next routine appointment 2 weeks later. This is something to treat as urgent immediately. If symptoms came and went, write down exactly what happened, what time it started, how long it lasted, and what part of the body was affected. But while that information is helpful, don't delay seeking help just to organize the details perfectly. Action first, notes second. If this video is helping you understand stroke more clearly, take a moment to like and subscribe. My goal here is simple: to give older adults clear, grounded medical guidance that protects health, confidence, and independence. Now let's get to number 1, the most important truth in this entire conversation. Number 1, the day before a stroke often looks like a warning that people rationalize away. That is the real danger. Not always a collapse, not always unconsciousness, not always a dramatic emergency scene. Sometimes it looks like I was just a little off. My hand felt funny. I had trouble getting my words out. I thought I was tired. I felt dizzy, then it passed. I didn't want to make a fuss. And I understand that instinct, especially in older generations. Many people were taught not to complain, not to overreact, not to trouble others. But when it comes to stroke, that instinct can cost brain cells, speech, mobility, and years of independence. The real cause behind many of these day-before signs is that the brain has already experienced a temporary loss of blood flow, maybe from a clot, maybe from a narrowed artery, maybe from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heart rhythm that can allow clots to form in the heart and travel upward, maybe from uncontrolled blood pressure damaging the vessel walls over time, maybe from diabetes, smoking, inflammation, cholesterol buildup, or vascular disease. And here is the part no one should forget. The body may give a reversible warning before it gives irreversible damage. That is why the right response is not curiosity. It is urgency. So let me give you the practical protection plan. If symptoms are sudden, think fast. Face. Ask the person to smile. Is one side drooping? Arms. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift down? Speech. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. Is speech slurred or strange? Time. If any of these are abnormal, call emergency services immediately. And fast is helpful, but it does not cover every stroke warning. Sudden vision loss, sudden severe imbalance, sudden confusion, or a sudden unusual headache may also matter, especially when the change is abrupt and different from the person's normal state. Do not let embarrassment delay action. Do not wait to see if it happens again. Do not go to sleep on it. Do not drive yourself if your symptoms affect safety. Now, beyond the emergency response, let's talk about protection in the bigger sense, because many viewers watching today are thinking, what can I do to reduce my risk in the first place? That is the right question. Stroke prevention is not one magic supplement or one miracle food. It is a pattern, it is blood pressure control, it is diabetes management, it is addressing atrial fibrillation if you have it, it is not smoking, it is protecting sleep, it is staying physically active within your ability, it is eating in a way that supports blood vessels and metabolic health. It is following up on carotid disease, cholesterol issues, and unexplained mini neurological episodes. It is taking prescribed medications as directed and reviewing them regularly with your physician. And please hear this with hope, not guilt. You cannot control everything. Age changes the body. Genetics matter. Medical conditions can be stubborn, but small, consistent actions still matter. They may help reduce risk. They may improve resilience. They may buy you time, clarity, and function. That matters. Because when older adults fear stroke, they are not only fearing death, often they are fearing dependence, needing help to dress, losing speech, losing the ability to walk safely to the bathroom, losing the power to make their own choices clearly. These fears are real, and that is exactly why recognizing warning signs early is so important. You do not have to become panicked to become prepared. You just need to respect sudden neurological change. So let me leave you with this. If something suddenly feels wrong in the face, arm, speech, vision, balance, or clarity of mind, believe the change. Believe the timing. Believe the seriousness until proven otherwise. Even if it passes, even if it seems small, even if you're not sure, especially if you're not sure. Because the day before a stroke is often not loud. It is often subtle, temporary, easy to explain away, and the people who do best are often the ones who respond before the big event, not after it. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message helped you, please share it with someone older you care about. And in the comments, tell me whether you already knew that stroke warnings can come and go before the major event. Subscribe if you want more calm, practical guidance on healthy aging, balance, circulation, memory, heart health, and protecting your independence. I'm Dr. Thomas Reynolds, and I'll see you in the next video.